Hi guys, welcome back. It has been forever since I have made any sort of videos at all for my channel. I have completely neglected it, but there is a reason. This year's been a complete write-off for me. I've been extremely ill. I'm not going to go into details, but I haven't fished since end of March, April of this year, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I can get out on the bank very, very soon. I really have missed it. And I just want to get out now. I've fed up, bored, God knows what else. But yeah, it's been an horrendous year for me. But they always say your health is the most important, and I do feel better now. Thank the Lord. Anyway, I'm not on social media, as some of you may or may not know. I don't do Facebook. I've got Instagram, but I don't do Facebook. It always seems to be full of doom and gloom and people trying to rip you off and God knows what else, and nobody ever seems happy on it anyway. So, but I do read and I do go on the cart forums and I do look at those and I do sort of comment on bits and pieces and general debates and things like that. And one thing that kept cropping up, and it was quite regular over a few months, about bite alarms. Now, we all use bite alarms from the cheapest through to the most expensive. They all do pretty much the same job. It all depends on your budget. Now, as some of you may be aware or may not be aware, I use the old Ace alarms. Now, these have never let me down. I've used them in horrendous weather, scorching hot weather. They've just kept going and going and going and going. They're like two alarms in one. You've got roller wheel sensing and vibration sensing. So, and I've never had any reason to change them. I did go to Nevis for a while, and I do love Steve Neville's, and I had those for a long time as well. But as most of them suffer with deterioration of the cases, and they started to crack. Now, I did have some of what they call base savers, and I did start to get some of the spider sort of cracks out of the base saver, and then they started cracking up the back. So I sort of retired those and pulled these out. Anyway, cut a long story short, one story that kept cropping up was, and it was quite a heated debate to be honest, and I loved it, and I think a lot of the other lads on the forum did as well. Nobody fell out, nobody was calling people names or anything like that like kids at school. It was a debate on these alarms that have been purchased through, I believe it's called AliExpress. Now you're probably going to know what I'm going to show you next or talk to you about next. Are these alarms that they call Fox RX Plus rip-offs, copies, whatever you want to call them. Now, there was a couple of guys on there that owned a set, and they were saying how great they were. They'd never had any problems with them. I couldn't comment, and I wouldn't comment because I don't own a set, but I do now. I thought, why not? For the money, why not? Now I owned RX Pluses when they were first released, and they were horrendous. I had water ingress issues, I had speaker issues, I had receiver issues. They were an absolute joke. It was like Fox had released them but hadn't done any real testing on them, and it was up to the purchaser to do the testing for him. That's how it felt to me. I'm not saying that's how it was, but for all three to go down in literally matter of weeks, and they were like 600 quid, and I think they're still that price now for three heads and the receiver in a fancy box and all that regalia that goes with it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to purchase some of these alarms. Now, I didn't go on AliExpress or anything like that. I purchased them through another gentleman. But in that time, I did a little bit of digging, a little bit of sort of Sherlock Holmes type stuff to try and find out whether these were actual copies, as what some people were saying were rip-offs, or were they actually made by the same people that actually do make the alarms for Fox. And it took me a little while, but I did find out, and the answer to it is they're the ones that make the bite alarms for Fox. Now, as I said, these are absolutely identical. Now, I'm only using my phone, so it might not pick it up great. There's slight differences, and I think obviously they have to do that because obviously copyright, etc. But they're exactly the same. The cases are exactly the same. The dials are exactly the same. There's some slight differences of what I can remember on the RX Plus on the back. Now, as you can see on the battery compartment, there's 2 screws. Now, the RX Pluses, they had 2 buttons, I believe, if memory calls correct. If I'm wrong, hey ho, it doesn't really matter. But I can remember two sort of press buttons, I'm sure, or was it one? No, sorry, there was one that you took a little cap off, and that was for your bobbins, your sort of illuminated swingers, etc. And the other one was to change the colour of the LEDs. And obviously with this, you've got a little jack socket. So if you want to use illuminated swingers, obviously you plug it into the side there. I think, I can't remember, but hey ho. And I'm thinking, they ain't going to be a lot for the price I paid for these. Now, I paid, I think it was about 230 quid, something like that, which is nothing really for 3 alarms and a receiver. But were they any good? Did they sound the same? These are the sort of things I was a little bit concerned about. But I thought, well, you know, I'm ill. I've got something. I need to have something to do. So, as I said, I purchased these. These sound the same. You've got the drop back differential. You can change the coloured LEDs, exactly the same. Obviously the procedure's different, but they sound exactly the same. So I'm going to just flick this on. I'm going to wait for the lights. There we go. I'm going to just use my driving licence, if you can pick that up. Even got, they sound exactly the same. There's no difference whatsoever in the sound, in the quality of the speaker, or anything. And why should there be if they are manufactured by the same people? I didn't take it from face value at first. I did do a lot of sort of digging around, and they are made by the same people that supply the Fox RX Pluses. So with that, there's the receiver. Exactly the same. Exactly the same. The only difference, and again, I think they have to make these sort of changes because obviously copyright, etc. And I think I might mention that is with the Fox RX Plus receiver. That is the on-off switch. That is just it's just molded. It doesn't move. On the back, you've got 3 buttons, and that, I believe, we're doing that round. Hold that in. There we go. Exactly the same. You've even got the night light mode if you want it on, if you're that, the bivvy light if you like. So let's turn. Oh, the alarm's already on. So I think there we go. Exactly the same. Whatever the head does, this does. There's no difference. Drop back, drop back, drop back. Exactly the same. Do I think they're worth the money? I've got to be honest, I'm really impressed with them. There's a lot of alarms out there. They all do the same job. Does it really matter? You know, that they are... Well, you've even got the anti-theft on, exactly the same as the Fox RX Plus. Does it really matter? I don't think it matters a jot as long as you're happy with them. It's a little bit like the Bivvies, Tracker, Aqua. They're all made abroad now. They're not made in the UK. Classic example, when Cyprinus first came out, everybody went, you know, well, not say everybody, but a lot of people slated Cyprinus. The quality's not there. They're crap. They won't last. They won't do this. They won't do that. Now, I had an Aqua Fast and Light, and I wanted a wrap for it. I couldn't get one from Aqua because they'd actually sold out, and I don't think they were producing them at all. This is the thing with Aqua; they'll do a limited run and that's it. They'll stop. So a guy at the lake said, "Oh, Cyprinus do one. I'm sure it'll fit your brolly." So I think it was about £89. So I paid the 89 quid. It came in a normal sort of brown box. I opened that up, and there was another box inside. I pulled it out, and what did it have written on the box? Aqua. There you go. I wasn't paying the carp tax, and it really niffed me a little bit why we're being ripped off the way that we are. Now, as I said, these were like 230 something quid, which for the price of bite alarms today is, well, absolutely nothing really. I know you can buy a lot cheaper. You can buy bite alarms for as cheap as a tenner, but and even less, if you go on some of the sites, like Temu or whatever. But I was actually really, really intrigued to see if these bite alarms were as good or as bad as people were trying to make out. I think a lot of people that were slating them off don't even own a set. As I said, I won't comment on anything that I've never used or I don't own. I had a chap quite recently asked me if the tracker net was as good as the Korda net. I can't comment because I haven't used the tracker net. I just said to him, and I'm being honest, just go and see what suits you. Have a look at the Korda Kaiser net, and then have a look at the tracker net and see which one you like the best. Obviously I have the Korda net. I could only comment on that. I will not, and I never will comment on things I've never used or never owned. I'm hoping to get out on the bank in the next sort of week or two. Hopefully the weather's kind, and I'm taking these with me. I am going to take my aces as a backup just in case. You just never know. I can't see why these would let me down. As I said, I'll put these in the garden. We've had some horrendous weather, and they'd never suffered with water ingress. I took the battery compartment off, and they were bone dry. So I can't see why they would. I think over time, maybe, I don't know. Longevity is going to be the key, I think, with these. And I'm going to keep a little bit of an update on what I find, if any. There might not be any issues. I'm hoping there isn't. But for some people out there that were slagging them off, I don't know how they can do that if you've never ever owned a set or you've never seen a set. Only because they're sold on a Chinese site or whatever it is, Temu, AliExpress, Alibaba, Run Your Rug, whatever you want to call them. You can't comment because if you've never owned a set, how can you put your input in? I'm going to put my input in because I actually own a set now, and let's see if they're any good. They can't be any worse than my actual Fox RX Pluses when they first came out, but that, as I said, that was a few years ago. But I'm going to take these out on the bank. I will do another video while I'm out fishing as well. It's not going to be a vlog or anything like that, and I'm going to just talk about how I find them, how I think they perform. As I said, everything about them is exactly the same. You're just not paying the carp tax. £600 or 230 something quid or whatever it was now. It was a little over 200 quid I paid for these. I personally, I know what I'd rather spend. I wouldn't want to spend £600 on a set of bite alarms. But there's some people out there that will. I've done it. I've done it more times than I care to remember. Everything, as I said, is exactly the same as the RX Plus, even down to the hard cases. So, hey ho, it is what it is. We've all got to watch the pennies, especially the way that the current climate is. I'm hoping that this video will help if somebody's out there looking at or watching this and they're interested in purchasing a set and they're a little bit unsure or they're a bit nervous, because let's face it, you can't always tell by a picture, and I don't always go off what people say. But I own a set now. They're exactly the same. One of my friends, he's got the RX Pluses, and to be honest, he's absolutely fuming because after what he found out I paid for these, Now we did a like for like comparison if you want to. There is no difference whatsoever, and why should there be if they're made by the same people that do supply the bite alarms for Fox? So let's see, let's see how well they do perform. I'm sure there's going to be some people out there that are going to be tackle tarts and snobs and one thing and another, and let's face it, we all like nice kit. I own some nice kit, same as everybody else does. But if these do exactly the same, I will not complain. So until next time, guys, hopefully I will be out on the bank in the next sort of week or two. Keep a lookout for that video. I will be posting it. As I said, it won't be a vlog, but let's see how these compare, eh? And let's put some of these rumours to bed, or see if they prove me wrong. But until next time, guys, be lucky. I hope you all get stinky nets, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.